And namaste and good morning, Utsada. Welcome to Hindu Lounge. Utsada, Hindu Lounge episode number 77.
Namaste Ajay bhai and good morning to everybody. We have Maya Durga here. Namaste from Maya Durga. Ajay bhai, your signal is a little weak.
It is.
Your signal is a little weak and
it'll get there. Yes, where we go. Maya, namaste. All right. What a nice namaste for Maya. We are going to talk about the Hindu Heritage Month today. So a little bit of echo on your side, but I'm sure you can fix that. Maya Durga, we are going to talk about Hindu Heritage Month today. So first, let me welcome all our viewers. Today is October 31st, and Utsada, you know, on October 1st, we embarked on a journey for the very first All-American Hindu Heritage Month. And Hindu Heritage Month, Utsada, what a month! What a month! We had proclamations from several city councils and states and counties, and over 100 organizations joined. But before I go there, let me introduce this show. This is Hindu Lounge. Hindu Lounge is brought to you by Hindu Pact. Hindu Pact is the policy research and advocacy initiative of World Hindu Council of America, that is VHPA. We come live every Sunday at 11 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Pacific. And as always, I'm with Utsav Chakravarti. Utsada is the executive director of Hindu Pact, which is the Hindu Policy Research and Advocacy Collective. And I am Ajay Shah. I am the president of World Hindu Council of America, or VHPA. And we come live every week, as I just said, and we talk about contemporary American Hindu issues. Today, we are going to talk about what did we achieve? What did we learn? What did the Hindu community achieve? Not VHPA. What did the Hindu community achieve out of the Hindu Heritage Month that we did? And with that, Utsada, welcome to you, and over to you.
Thank you, Ajay bhai. And I think there is a little bit of signal weakness from your end, but I think it's fine now. So this was really fascinating because for the first time in America, more than 25 states have declared October 2021 as Hindu Heritage Month, and that has never happened before, and that is unprecedented. So what we are going to do today, it is the last day of October, and we are going to look at what happened during this month, how we should analyze this particular month in terms of what was the achievement, what could have been done better. And it is really a step in the right direction, and it is just the beginning. That's how I can put it. And Ajay bhai, a lot of credit goes to your leadership in this aspect. In last couple of months, you have worked very hard to bring all the different Hindu organizations together. And as president of World Hindu Council of America, I think you deserve a lot of credits and kudos and applause. So if you could play the applause sound for yourself, which you like to play otherwise, please do so.
Yeah, so that I know, I think that credit should go where it should deserve. People who deserve the credit, and they actually, Dr. Jay Bansal led the effort on behalf of VHPA, but and Amitabh Mittalji, and both of them were during
Yes.
for our inaugural program. Additionally, people from HSS, from Kona, from Hindu Students Council, and so many mandirs. I mean, if you think about the Ohio mandir where
Hindu American
Dr. Ravi
Foundation.
Khanna when was participating, if you think about Amliya Tyagiji and how he worked with all the different counties in Ohio and Congress and every other place, and if you look at what Renu Gupta ji did with all the chapters everywhere. I mean, it really it took more than a village to do this, and so that I cannot thank all these people enough because really the work had to be done at a grassroots level. I mean, we feel very good about doing this show every week, and I know quite a bit of time goes into it. But the real work, as we have always said, happens at the grassroots, and there's so many people who contributed to this. And there are states where we have no chapters, and those states, recognize October as as the Hindu Heritage Month. So that so let me let me start by saying why we actually worked on why we decided that October should be Hindu Heritage Month. So that if you look at the overall Hindu community in America, you see that it is a very diverse community. It is, people have come to people who are Hindus have come not just from Bharat or India. They have come from Bharat. They have come from Nepal. They have come from Bangladesh. They have come from Pakistan. They have come from places like Suriname and the Caribbean island. They have come from Africa. They have come from UK. Excuse me. So this is a very diverse Hindu, and a lot of probably hundreds and hundreds of thousands of Hindus who are born and brought up in America, and their only country of origin they have is America. And now you add to that, all the people who follow the dharmic practices, whether it is yoga, whether it's meditation, whether it's Ayurveda, and you now have these 22 million people, about 8-9% of American population, that is in some way or the other following Hindu practices. And when you have such a large community and you have such diversity in terms of race and ethnicity, and you have diversity in cultural and religious practices that Hindu Dharma offers, how do you bring all of these people together? And how do you tell the non Hindus what Hindu Dharma is all about? And that was and to spread that message, to bring the Hindus together and to spread this message of universality of Hindu Dharma is what was the reason why we said we should do October as Hindu Heritage Month. It's a significant time for the Hindus because it generally is a festive season. Of course, we follow the lunar calendar, but by and large, that is the month where a lot of Hindu activities, a lot of Hindu religious practice, festivals take place. There is Ganesh Chaturthi, and post Ganesh Chaturthi, if you look at Navratri of 9 days, and ending to the last day of Diwali and the New Year for many people who follow the Vikram Samvat, and Bhai Dooj the day after that. So it is a very, very auspicious, significant time for the Hindu community. And that is how this whole month was structured. It was meant for Hindu organizations and Hindu individuals to reach out and tell the world about Hindu Dharma. So tell about Hindu practices, tell about Hindu festivals, tell about Hindu achievements, tell about how Hindus perform seva, which is selfless service, and tell about the presence of Hindus in public life, whether it is in Congress or whether it's in Senate and whether it's in local bodies and all of that. Just go and express to the world what Hindu Dharma is all about. So that was the that was the reason uh, why we did Hindu Heritage Month in October. Now, so the what are your reflections about what you know uh, what is the if you take a step back and say what did we how did it go, what did we achieve? And I welcome everyone who has joined today to call and contribute and participate in this chat that we are doing, uh, because we want to hear from you. uh, how how did the Hindu Heritage Month go? What did we learn from it? So please go ahead, Utsada.
Well, there are some pretty clear objectives that were achieved, not just achieved, but they were actually we excelled as a community in getting the results. Primarily, I would say the fact that 25 states came out with proclamations declaring October 2021 as Hindu Heritage Month itself is a long step forward. It's a very it's a positive development in terms of two things. The fact that in 25 different states, Hindu communities got together and filed for proclamations. That shows our significant presence and a unified presence in these states. Number two, the fact that these states gave the proclamations and very promptly did so shows the relevance of Hindu communities in these states. And more importantly, the fact that they were able to do so without any controversies shows that the general goodwill the American Hindu community has in the communities it lives in the states they live in. And that, I think, it was at show here. It was visible. Within a month, after more than 40 universities in some ways participated at an event that was aimed at targeting Hindus through the Dismantle Global Hindutva conference, to have 25 states come out and issue proclamations on Hindu Heritage Month within a month of that kind of a slandering effort done by who usual suspects, shows that the Hindu community has so much goodwill, and no amount of propaganda and no amount of vilification and falsehood can damage that goodwill, because this goodwill has come up over years and years of Hindu communities being good citizens and good contributors to the American society. And that is the very important punchline that came out of this effort. Another thing I think that was worth noting is that Hindu community was able to engage at the grassroots level. So in cities, in villages, in towns and countries across America, even where there are very few Hindu families, they were able to engage with their communities. They were able to get proclamations from counties and cities. They were able to even be part of city council meetings and give speeches. That's the part that has not been discussed much or talked about much in the media. In many cities across America, Hindus gave small presentations on what Hindu Dharma is about, how Hindu Dharma is contributing to American society, how it is essentially a very close it jives into the American societal goals and dreams as envisaged by our founding fathers. So this was very important, and this was in display all along October, and that, I think, it was a very important thing, because everybody saw that. Additionally, and this may not sound as good to many people, but it also shows how integral Hindus are to American society. Hindus have always faced this dichotomy, being a very young immigrant population, and this dichotomy is really unfortunate, but it's been sometimes reinforced by Hindus themselves, is that Hindus are Indians, and that's it. So that identity narrative needed to be broken, because they are not. It's not just that Hindus are Indians. I mean, that is true. Many Hindus are Indians, but Hindu Dharma is so much more. Hindu Dharma is universal in its theology, in its cosmology, in its soteriology, in its ontology. In every way, Hindu Dharma has a very, very universal approach, and to present it as such is a very good thing to do, because that actually was at display here. So it is a step in the right direction. This is the first year it happened, but I hope that this is just the beginning. It will pick up more and more as more Hindus connect with this, and also young people. I'll leave it at when I speak about the young people, Ajay, and then after that you can take over. Young people for the first time saw how Hindus are relevant to American society. And this is something that I got to know through social media and through different channels again and again, even in my local Washington, D.C., Maryland, Virginia area. Young people will comment on this like, this is the first time my school friends, my college mates are talking about Hindu heritage. I have never, they say that they have never seen this before. And that says two things. It says, one, that we are, as a community, we have failed in some ways, being too insular in our approaches. And number two, that insularity is slowly going away, and we are going out and giving the message of dharma to the rest of the society. Back to you, Ajay.
So the one thing you said that kind of struck a note here. You said that people saw this as a response to the Dismantle Global Hindutva conference, but that is as far from away from truth as it could be, because the Hindu Heritage Month planning started in January, and it was way before the planning for that Hindu-phobic conference or Hindu-hating conference started. So it just so happened that the conference took place in September, that particular conference, the Hindu-phobic conference, and our Hindu Heritage Month was designated to be October. So really, whatever the negativity that was generated by this particular group was washed away, but it was not planned. I think when you're on the righteous path, God is on your side, I guess, and that is the result of in some ways, in some subtle ways, God being on our side in our path of dharma. At least that's that's the interpretation that I would give. So that this is there is some amount of divine intervention here, where the narrative of the Hindu Heritage Month actually took over the negative narrative of Hindu phobia, and that deserves a drum roll.
Yeah, Ajay, see, as I said before, I don't think.
Okay, now please go ahead.
Okay, as I said before, Ajay, I don't think anybody in the Hindu community was was looking at it as such. I think the leadership within the Hindu community across different groups, whether it is VHPA, Hindu Pact, HAF, KONA, all across Hindu Students Council, HSS, all Hindu leadership was not looking at it as such. But to the common person out there, it was a stark contrast. It almost looked like it was designed to be that way. Just in 1 month before, in September, you have a bunch of coalition of Hindu haters coming together, using the platform of universities and these whatever woke culture that they can have access to, and Hindu phobia in these many academic circles. They use that to create this whole hype about targeting Hindutva, and then within a month it all falls flat. I mean that conference itself was not that well done, and it did pretty badly in itself. But within a month, to have 25 states declare Hindu Heritage Month, it almost looked like it was predetermined. It was planned that way, and to rub their faces on the sand.
Utsida, can I share something with you, because I found this amusing, because the organization that is at the forefront of Hindu phobia in America is an organization called Hindus for Human Rights. You know that there's not much Hindu about that organization, but the sign of our success, Utsoda, is that Hindus for Human Rights, if you can see my screen, let me turn it on. And I'm giving them a lot of publicity, because now thousands of people who didn't know about them would know. But Hindus for Human Rights went and celebrated Hindu Hindu Heritage Month. That's how it should be. I mean, I wish I can talk to their founders and other people saying that, look, let us find some common ground. I mean, I'm sure that Hindus can agree that Diwali is an auspicious festival. Hindus can agree Navratri is an auspicious festival. Hindus can agree that Hindu Dharma is all encompassing, all accommodating, and we should all be together regardless of our political differences. And maybe it could be a beginning of them shedding their Hindu hatred under the guise of being Hindus. But I found it very interesting that they actually on their website, the first graphic that shows up on the top banner or the scroll is Hindus for Human Rights and Hindu Heritage Month. So I don't want to give them, I want to actually, so that to be honest, I want to welcome them to the Hindu fold. Maybe this is the new beginning, and this may be the beginning. Well, Utsada, wait. I'm going to say this. You might like it. This may be their Ghar Vapsi.
Well, don't be so quick to give.
Oh, so come on,
give them credit. See, I'll tell you something.
This is the sound for you now.
So the reason I think Hindus for Human Rights has to do more to be actually calling themselves, Hindus or for human rights. Either, if you disconnect if you break down the name, they're neither for Hindus nor for human rights. so
that come on, today is a day where we bring about the positivity.
No, I know, Ajay, you feel flattered.
You're dampening the enthusiasm that I have about Ghar Vapsi here. I think they're going to come home.
Okay, can I say something?
Please go ahead.
All right. So I think the fact I would hold them to a slightly higher standard, because you have to understand that they do have the capability of doing a lot of damage. They have done a lot of damage to Hindus across the world. They have misrepresented, lied, and actually worked in cahoots with radical Islamists, with people who have done a tremendous amount and continue to do tremendous harm to Hindus across the world. So Hindus for Human Rights is a propped up organization. They represent jihadists in so many forums, and Ghar Vapsi is good. We would like them to do Ghar Vapsi in many ways, more than one ways. But I think the only thing that is good about them trying to include themselves, self-inclusion within the Hindu Heritage Month, was to basically, it shows that, people, whoever supports them, whoever props them up, had to tell them that, look, you are going to get so sidelined and you'll be exposed so much if you oppose this, that you will literally come across looking like an anti-Hindu organization, which you are. So even their sponsors had to tell them that, look, just go with the flow and maybe include yourself into this, because at least you have the word Hindu in your name, so you should look like you are part of this. So I think you need to understand how these organizations work and how they think, and at least if you want to feel happy that an organization that spends all its time and its whole purpose is to target you has joined you for a short period of time under compulsions of.
I look at the comment that we got on the chat. It's just for you. See, I've been telling you this for a long time.
No, so I think the comment
came. Get a smile on Usada's face here.
No, I think the comment came because you kept on coaxing the audience without them even realizing what I was going to say. So anyway, it's like in talk shows, people have these cue cards at hand, say smile, laugh, clap. You just kept on doing that otherwise. So obviously, you will get that from somebody.
So that, this is Hindu Heritage Month celebration. Okay, it's all celebration. Let's celebrate with Hindus for Human Rights. Let's play Dandiya and Garba with them. Let's invite them for Diwali. This is their Ghar Vapsi. Let's do it.
Ajay, just repeating the word Ghar Vapsi again and again doesn't make. I know you want to feel good about it, but you have to understand what Hindus for Human Rights does. And you're sounding like LK Advani going to Minar Pakistan and praising Jinnah.
Okay, so I didn't praise them. I just did. See, the difference is that I'm doing Ghar Vapsi. He didn't do Ghar Vapsi. I'm into Ghar Vapsi. All right. So moving on. So I think the point is that at some point the Hindu Heritage Month became force of nature. it really gained enough traction. And I want to share the screen with you, Utsada, to see what you have to say. This is the, you talked about proclamations, right? Now, it's not terribly difficult to do proper proclamation. Everyone understands that. Everyone knows that. It is not about the whether it is easy to do or hard to do or any of that. The fact is that Hindus who are politically aloof, who don't know how the city councils work, who don't know how the state legislators work, who don't know how the Congress works, who don't know how the governor's office work by and large. I'm not talking about the second and third generation. I'm talking about people who are first generation immigrants. They actually learned the process. They learned the process, and they actually got themselves, they engaged in the civic discourse. And that, Utsada, is the achievement of Hindus. So let me share this proclamation page on our website with you. And uh, here, this is the proclamation page, Utsada. And this is by no means complete, because we get so many of these every single day that it's impossible to go over, to put all of them in real time. But 4 Congress members, I think there's a fifth one also, who have made a statement in the House of Representatives recognizing the Hindu Heritage Month. These are the proclamations by states, and you can see from Texas, the first one to actually come was Florida, and I wish I can show Florida, but in whatever order, you can see Texas, Ohio, New Jersey, Massachusetts, and so on and so forth. And the last one, Utsodar, that came was Illinois, which is still not here, and I don't see some of the other ones also. There are a total of now 25. So there are 25 state proclamations. Okay. I should give credit where it's due. One of the first ones is actually not even a proclamation. The first one actually was Texas, besides Texas. The first one was the one that was that Hindu American Foundation has been doing for since I believe 2013 or 14, and that is the Hindu Awareness and Appreciation Month. And Hindu Awareness and Appreciation Month.
The first one was from Florida. First one was
no, the one that I'm talking about actually preceded that, and that is the one where the state of California, the legislature, the House in the state of Florida, state of California, passes a resolution each year for the Hindu Awareness and Appreciation Month since 2013, and Hindu American Foundation, is the one behind that, and so they were, they were successful in getting that resolution done because they've been doing it for many years. In fact, in 2014, they had done it in state of Michigan also. But those are one-off kind of state efforts. And what ended up happening this year, Utsoda, is that they joined with all the other organizations doing Hindu Heritage Month. So we all became one in celebrating the Hindu Heritage Month. There were 2 other celebrations that we should note that have been happening for some time. And these are in 2 states in Canada. One of them has been doing it as Hindu Heritage Month, a month-long thing since 2016 or 17. The other one is doing longer. So we are not saying, and that this is and VHP. To be fair, Utsoda, VHP America, the World Hindu Council of America, VHPA, has been doing Hindu Heritage Day since 2003. And even maybe earlier, and it's been doing it all over. But what this particular month did was bring all of these together. And that is why we were able to demonstrate to the world that we are able to, that the scale of effort was much larger. Let me show you some of the other resolutions that, proclamations that came. So if you go here, Utsoda, and I'll show you the city proclamation. So you can see city of Las Palmas and city of Houston actually became one of the biggest cities to proclaim Hindu Heritage Month. And I think our website is not current, but we have now 35 cities who have that have proclaimed Hindu Heritage Month as August. So you can see Sugarland, you can see city of Houston, you can see city of Rochester here in Michigan, and you can see city of Columbus in Ohio. Uh, the last one I saw came a couple of days ago was city of Cerritos in California, and you can see. I mean, this is uh, a long list. City of Irvine in California in Orange County. So the a city of Dallas in Texas. So a really good number of proclamations, and that introduced the Hindus to the state, and local electoral process, or give them an opportunity to talk to the elected officials. Any comments on where this would lead?
Look, as I said, this is something that has set up the Hindu community for a long-term engagement with the society in general. Uh, I think this should be attempted as with every year affair. And I think eventually, if around the country, more and more cities, more and more states, I mean, you already have half the country proclaiming it, uh, go out and proclaim Hindu Heritage Month, it should be a national Hindu Heritage Month that should be declared in the month of October. And I think that would be a great achievement for the American Hindu community. It will be a great achievement for America itself. Because what is important here is that this is not just good for American Hindus or for American society in general. This is also a very important step that offers a beacon of hope to all indigenous communities in the United States. See, I mean, the irony should not be lost that Indians were the terms that were used to describe Native Americans by the Europeans for all the wrong reasons. So I think the Hindu Heritage Month should be a hope for all indigenous communities in the United States for all the right reasons. And it is for the first time that other communities, indigenous communities in the United States, will be able to take ownership of their own religion and can celebrate it in America, which would be unprecedented in America. It's something that the future should be looked forward towards. So I think Hindu Heritage Month is important for all Americans, not just for Hindus.
Hey, so I don't know if you know this, but we got queries from several other countries where people want to celebrate Hindu Heritage Month, and next year we will get them on board right from the beginning. So, in addition to Canada, which is of course our next door neighbor, we got people from UK inquiring about how they can participate in the Hindu Heritage Month activities. We got feelers from Australia. So Australian Hindus reached out to us to be part of the Hindu Heritage Month celebrations. We got a really good press coverage in South Africa, and the South African Hindus reached out to us and say, how can they be part of the Hindu Heritage Month? And we didn't really have the infrastructure set up for them. But, next year we will. We had a query from Thailand where Hindus of Thailand wanted to be part of Hindu Heritage Month celebration as well. So, next year, you can look forward to Hindus from across the world, around the world, and across the US, participating with even more enthusiasm in this annual Hindu Heritage Month festival. So that the largest amount of articles in the press and the press commentary actually came from India. And you would think that Hindus have been in India forever, and there's so many Hindu festivals, and this is a Hindu festival that is taking place in a far-flung country. Why would they pay attention? Surprisingly, Utsoda, and not only they paid attention, but it gained a lot of traction, a lot of front page coverage. So I talked to a reporter in India who just texted me and said, hey, I want to talk to you and interview you for Hindu Heritage Month. And I talked to them, and next day he called me and said that was the most widely read story, and people are asking for a follow on. So can you give a second interview with some additional questions, because there's so much interest in India on the Hindu Heritage Month. So instead of having a single conversation with a reporter in India from Mumbai, we ended up having 2 conversations and a written response to go with it. And that to me was surprising because I didn't expect things to get, Hindu Heritage Month to get so much recognition in Bharat, in India. And I think so that points to the the partnership that we still have we have with all the other Hindu organizations. So I want to share this particular page with you, and these are all the partner organizations. So this is the who's who of Hindu organizations in America, and next year I'm sure there'll be more. I mean, you can see there are some very large organizations, including BAPS, and but there are also
Ajay,
smaller
you
and
set
of course.
yourself up for this joke, but would you be? I would be happy to see Hindus for Human Rights in that list.
Interestingly enough, so the way they, in order to use the logo, they have to register as a partner, and we license the logo to them. So they have not registered as a partner. Now anyone can be part of it, so they probably don't know about it. And but
We
it's just like
we should
after Garbhati, it takes a little while to get to know all the customs and culture, and this is give them a pass. So
no,
they're new
I'm
to
saying
the.
next year. Next year.
Yeah, next. So
Next
they're
year
new
we
to
should
the
have.
dharmic fold. We have to kind of gradually initiate them into the customs and culture of the dharma.
Yeah, they should. One of the steps would be to start by not lying about other Hindu organizations and attacking.
So come on, celebrate Hindu dharma here. Look at this. There's HST, Kona, HAF, the Swaminarayan Sanstha, HMEC, of course, Hindu Forum of Canada, Hindu Speak HSS, um, and there's smaller organizations like Priest for You, and of course Mission Bindi, and we did a show on Bindi, right? I mean, we did we played Usha. They had conceived of Hindu Heritage Month for a long time, and they are one of them. Of course, VHP America, AHAD, there's, and you can keep going down the road. It's just you know look at it's a who's who of all the Hindu organizations here. Uh,
Yeah, it is very impressive,
and look at the temples. I mean, there are local temples, and Hindu Temple of Tri-State, Hindu Swayamsevak Sangh in UK, is a huge organization in UK. Chinmaya Mission. I mean, a very large Hindu organization does in Chinmaya, Swami Chinmaya, and of course, being co-founder of VHP itself in Bharat. Uh, and so the other thing to note is, let me show you some of the events. There are hundreds and hundreds. Oh, by the way, a lot of people who don't have logo are listed on the right hand side. Uh, but there were so many events. There's so many events that took place. So the major Diwali festivals like Seva Diwali, which is over 100 Hindu organizations come and celebrate Diwali as selfless service Diwali, and they are part of this. There are major Dandiya Garba festivals and major city celebrations, citywide celebrations for Navratri. They were part of this, and this is just what is happening on. Look at what is happening on just 31st of October. Um, you can see that there's a event that is taking place in Livingston, New Jersey. There is Seva Diwali today. There is Kartik Deepam Deep Dan today. There's a blood donation drive that is happening today, and of course, the biggest one today, Utsoda, and I urge everyone to attend, is the closing ceremony of the Hindu Heritage Month. Today, the Hindu Heritage Month comes to a close. We will count all the activities that happened till Diwali, but look at the absolutely wonderful poster that they've created, Utsada. Look at this poster and look at all the the event that is taking place at 3 o'clock Eastern today, and you can see this event is an online event. It's happening today. So just, I mean, it is enormous. Just today there are 6 events, and also a couple of them that were not listed in the page, and I'll display it. One of them is a webinar series on Hindu Dharma, Hindutva, and Hindu phobia or Hindu dvesha. That is happening. It's a 20 speakers. We talked about it in past. It's happening today as well. So the span of activity is just enormous, right?
yes, and this is this is something that if we were to look at things self critically, this is something that used to be occasionally every couple of years, a once a week kind of phenomena, where Hindu communities would do something for a week, for a day in some parts of the world. But this is just amazing that this carried throughout the month, and the energy is simply amazing. We could have almost had 3 months of Hindu Heritage Months, literally. That's the amount of energy I could perceive, and that was so palpable in the community.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about some of the the impact on non-Hindus that of the Hindu Heritage Month. So we talked about the impact of Hindus. What about non-Hindus?
So as I said, Ajay, I talked about the impact on Native American communities. That is something that was, in my opinion, that's a long it's a long-term impact that has just began, and this is for the first time ancient civilizational religion is being celebrated in the American mainstream, something that the Native American communities could certainly benefit from, because if there is anything that they have not been able to regain back in any manner besides territory and human rights, it's their religion, and their religion has been completely absorbed, destroyed, and digested into Judeo-Christian belief systems. So this Hindu Heritage Month is a beacon light for many of the Native American communities to revive their religion back, and that would be true salvation and revival for them, because if they are not able to revive back their religion, they will never be able to regain back any form of human rights, because they have all been Christianized. But other than that, I think in every community that Hindus live in, it's a celebration of Hinduness, and Hinduness stands for universality, peace, and mutual respect. So just the celebration of Hindu Heritage Month itself brings a larger feeling of peace and mutual respect within American society that everybody could learn from. Most of all, people who spend half their lives targeting Hindus. So I think it's a very it's for those non-Hindus, it should work as a soothing influence for them, and it should hopefully uplift them, as you said, for Hindu human rights folks, uplift them to be better people. But I also want to talk about some of the other impact.
Before you move on to the next topic, can I just ask you a question on the same topic? So you think that now that we have had Hindu Heritage Month, next time when someone runs for presidential for the presidential election, they will actually put up a page on Hindus, like they did for Catholics and did for Muslims and did for Jews and all of that, or they will just subsume the Hindu identity into South Asian Indian and Indian into South Asian and just put up a South Asian page. So you think
That's
at least will Hindu Heritage Month? So my question for you is, will Hindu Heritage Month result in at least a page on a website of a presidential candidate?
It depends on the Hindus, but it is the step in the right direction. If there were a 20% chance before of having a page dedicated to Hindu communities and in their interests within America during the last election, the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, neither of them did it. But if there was a 20% chance last election of getting that done, next time it would be a 70% chance. And
how do we get to 100? What do we need to do to get to 100?
It's up to us. The same people in our communities that went from city to city getting proclamations, from state to state getting proclamations from 25 governors, those same people and people who are engaged in the political process in America have to get their voices heard. And I think there's a far better, higher chance of getting that done next time, because now they know they have a voice. Before, they probably didn't know that they had a voice. So now all these 25 states and the Hindu communities in those states, all these 40 cities and counties and the Hindu communities in those counties, their children, they have to be the voice asking presidential candidates why is it that there is a page on their election campaign websites that talks about American Jewish communities, American Christian communities, American Islamic communities, but no page for American Hindu communities. Instead, there is a page for American South Asian communities that is also dedicated to American Islamic communities. So that's something that our people, those who worked every day to get these proclamations done, have to ask their political leaders, and they all want votes. So at the end of the day, they will eventually fall in line, because they have to fall in line if we really persist. So Ajay bhai, I would say there's an 80% chance next time, but we can work hard to make it 100%.
Okay, let's do it. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I couldn't. I had to ask that question because you talked about the the Hindu participation in public life. So please go on and
So that
to
is
your
no,
next point.
the question is very valid. It's a very, very good question that you asked, because one of the things that comes out of this Hindu Heritage Month is a generally higher self-confidence among American Hindu communities and a better chance of engagement in public spaces. This was a very good example of how to do it successfully, and I think hopefully in every other aspect they will be doing it more in the future.
So one of the things I found interesting is that for the first time, I actually detected a little bit of a change, which was so positive. It is subtle, but really positive. Generally, we have seen the Hindu Sunday schools, the Bal Gokulams, the Bal Vihars, these Apart Shalas, and they go by many, many different names, and that's why I just condense it down to Sunday schools, not to single out any one of them. Um, there were a couple of the three programs that I know as part of Hindu Heritage Month that took place, and those to me were very different kinds of programs. So, for example, one of the programs was a couple of days ago, and this was a program about teaching Hindu history in Bal Vihars. And generally, when people teach Hindu history in Bal Vihar, this history is about the great Hindu heroes, and the fact that zero was invented in India and things like that. These are the things that make Hindus proud of their cultural and cultural heritage, their civilizational heritage, if you will. This time, the discussion that took place was more substantive in terms of addressing the Hindus, uh, you know, as they're growing up in America. We also had a separate webinar on Hindu identity for the first time that I can think of. Actually, Hindu Pack did it once earlier, so the second time that I can think of. But this was a really substantive webinar, and that was about Hindu identity in Hindu American youth or American Hindu youth, and the issues that directly impact them. And a lot of really good. There was a high school panel, there was a college panel, and some really, really good issues were brought out. It was very substantive discussion there. And I urge anyone who has missed it to go to our Facebook, our YouTube channels, and look at that. It was an amazing, experience to actually sit in, and eye-opening in many ways, to sit there and listen to contemporary American youth issues for people who have not had the experience in past. There was a third Bal Vihar, which is a very different kind of Bal Vihar, and that's called Hindu Mind Meet. And this has been initiated in Ohio, but it's a national Bal Vihar. And here again, the emphasis is on connecting the Hindu history with American Hindu present. And it's a very different kind of Bal Vihar. And so I see this, a different way of, different way of propagating and promoting and teaching Hindu Dharma in America. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I think this was long overdue, to put it honestly. I do not want American Hindus to get divorced from the history of Hindus from the Asian region, since most Hindus come from Asia. But at the same time, for a long time, I want that American Hindus are fully aware of the extent of Hindu civilization, and that was missing. I mean, I myself many years ago would be going to these Bal Vihars and going to these family camps where these conversations were happening with young American Hindus. And this is very, very important, that I noticed that we would barely teach anything about Hindus outside India. uh, we would teach some few things about Hindus in India, and that too only specific parts of India. you know Shivaji here and a Maharana Pratap here, but you know the large, and that was partially because the people who were teaching it, which is the immigrant population, immigrant generation from India, themselves hardly knew much about their own history. And their history was based on their local, regional understanding of their past 1,000 years, 2,000 years of their history. And they would literally informally give that education to their, or try to give that education through Bal Vihars. The formal history of the Indian subcontinent, of the larger Asian region vis-a-vis Hindu Dharma, is so cooked up and so morphed to the point of being BS that it was nobody was able to teach it properly. But now things have changed, and I think what we are seeing is this globalization of Hindu history, and a gaze at Hindu history from a global perspective. And I think American Hindus are going to benefit significantly out of it. And a lot of work is being done in other parts of the world on this topic as well.
So that I don't want to say this only about youth, right? I think one of the things that I saw was a webinar that Hindu Mandir Executives Conference and part of the and an associated organization called Hindu Mandir Priest Conference. Both of them are initiatives of World Hindu Council of America, or VHPA, and they did the chanting, an evening of chanting with American Hindu priests. And so that the two things I noticed in there, one is that they had their two chanting sessions. One was a priest who followed the North Indian tradition, and the other was from the priest who followed the South Indian tradition. And one of the participating priests there was a Caribbean Hindu. So this kind of bringing all the Hindus from around the world with their different practices together and chanting on a single platform, I think that itself is a major achievement. The second part, I saw that even in that webinar, the priest conference webinar, there were a lot of questions about how to make Hindu Dharma relevant to contemporary American Hindu youth. And look, I mean, nothing against people, or nothing, and actually nothing but admiration for people who are running Bal Vihar. It's not an easy task. It's very difficult to gather everyone and work on Bal Vihar. And they have been doing it for, some of them have been doing it for 30, 40, 50 years. I think one of the things that we are looking at is the way the way the country America itself has evolved, and the needs, and how this society has changed in America, not the Hindu society, but overall how America has changed over the last 40 years, and to figure out, what are the places where we can make Bal Vihars and other things more relevant in that. I think we made a great beginning during this Hindu Heritage Month. That is not to say that people in past were not thinking about it or not doing this, but it is something that it got an additional impetus in during the Hindu Heritage Month, and hopefully that will continue, because that is the area of real challenge for everyone, especially for parents who have immigrated from other countries and who now live in America. So I think that I'm hoping that Hindu Heritage Month will channel this thinking to all Bal Vihars and Bal Gokulams and Pathshalas and everything else. And thoughts on that?
No, I agree with you. I think it's important and it's needed. So this was needed 5 years ago. The fact it's happening now is a step in the right direction.
Yeah. So there are a lot of comments. There are a lot of people are saying that this is a great beginning, but we have to, as Dedhia ji has said, that this is a beginning, and we should, there should be a way to continue this, right? Continue the programs for awareness about Sanatan Dharma and welfare of Hindus worldwide. And that really, no 1 month program is a full stop. I mean, it's just basically, it's a beginning, and this will continue, correct?
Exactly. And that's the intention. I mean, as I said, the intention should be that the President of the United States recognizes October as Hindu Heritage Month, just like we have Hispanic Heritage Month, or we have other heritage months across the country.
And I also want to recognize the fact that there are hundreds of shakhas HSS runs across America, and all the shakhas celebrated Hindu Heritage Month as well. This was not, this was not one organization doing it or the other, but it was really widely recognized. So that there are still some interesting things coming up. There's a big Diwali celebration that is happening, and maybe you want to share something that you have been working on. So, that is happening next week, correct? So, what is happening next week? And Tejal Ben Shah, who is the Joint General Secretary of VHPA, has been working with you on this effort.
Correct. And if you want, I can share the
Please.
screen.
Yes, please go ahead.
You have to approve it, Ajay bhai.
Yes, I'll turn it on.
So if you see my screen, this
Beautiful.
is the Diwali truck that is actually going to travel across New York City on November 3. And basically it highlights, as you all know, in New York City will be lit up with fireworks on November 2nd, 3rd, and 4th from 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. in the morning, and fireworks on November 3rd. And then the World Trade Center will be lit up with the animated mural on November 2nd, 3rd, and 4th from 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. So there's going to be a digital truck which will have two slides, and there's a back slide which represents almost the same message. Wishing New York on All American Diwali, and it's being sponsored by Hindu Pact, Hindu Heritage Month, and World Hindu Council of America, our parent organization. And this is the other slide with the message. So this will be a 20-second flip back and forth on the sides of the truck, which gives the message of Asatoma Sadgama Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya from Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. So this is, I think this is a wonderful idea that All American Diwali team has done in New York. And the fact that One World Trade Center, which is a newly constructed building after the tragic events of September 11, will be lit up on Diwali with this message, is so apt at so many levels, at metaphorical level as well as at a spiritual level. And this is so important that we share the happiness and the brightness of Diwali with the rest of the world. And New York is the perfect place for it. So if you, Ajay, you see my screen?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
It's
so
beautifully designed. So that this is a very beautiful design. I want to compliment you on this design. It's very, very nice.
It took me 2 days, and I am more rusty and may not be as wonderful as our in-house graphics experts. Vandana ji is traveling to India, so.
But Vandana ji is listening to the show.
Yes. But she has.
Nobody can beat Vandana ji.
Exactly. Nobody can beat Vandana ji, but I always try. So
you're close second.
In her absence, I put in a couple of days.
So no, it's wonderful. It's really wonderful. So that the other event that is coming up today, and let me show up this. We mentioned this at the beginning. This is this is the celebration, closing ceremony, the celebration of Hindu Heritage Month. It is at 3 o'clock Eastern today, and you can still register. Please go to tinyurl.com/HHMclosing2021. tinyurl.com/HHMclosing2021. Or you can go to our website and you'll be able to see information about the closing ceremony. I think I want to bring this nice show to a close, but with our three regularly scheduled segment. The first one, as always, Utsada, let me share my screen. I wouldn't want to do it without sharing the screen here. So let's go with the screen share and a nice piece of music that goes with it and everything else. All right, let's go here. And Utsada, here is the music and the video that usually goes with it. My computer is a little slow, as it always is, but here we go. And so the Hindu Seva Act of the week is Hindu Heritage Month, and the sponsoring organizations Hindu Heritage Month. I would urge everyone who would like to make a contribution, please go to hindumonth.org. Please go to hindumonth.org and make your donation. So the Seva Charity Act of the week, Utsoda, is Hindu Heritage Month. And all the activities, the truck, and the advertisements that we did at the beginning of the Hindu Heritage Month by putting up graphics on the World Trade Center, in the buildings in Manhattan, and all the other places. They all cost money, but it is money that is well spent, and it increases the awareness about Hindu Dharma, and it makes the Hindu Dharma more relevant to the non-Hindus as well, more relatable to non-Hindus as well. And for that, it does cost money. And so I urge everyone who can make a donation to please go to hindumonth.org and donate to Hindu Heritage Month efforts. With that, Utsada, I know that you have picked the Hindu phobe or Hindu hater of the week. And who do we have?
So Ajay, do you want to share the screen? Would you like to?
I would be glad to. I should say I would be glad to, but I'll share it because what is there to be glad about? But here we go. So wait, okay, don't we usually have a music for this? What music would you like?
Ajay, you no, that's not a good music.
How about this one?
No, you usually have the yeah, that's a better.
All right, Hindu phobe of the week, Hindu hater of the week.
So I am caught between three people for the Hindu phobe of the week.
Why is it so hard to get good news of the week, but you have three every time? You have 2 and 3 Hindu haters of the week.
Oh, trust me, there are way more. But we just picked the most outrageous haters and people with positions of power and responsibility, because that makes it even more bad and outrageous. Crazy nutcase on the street can obviously hates Hindus in many parts of the world for whatever they believe in, but for popular, well-known personalities with stature and skill and responsibility in the society to make hateful comments is worse. So we have three people. One is the Pakistan minister Sheikh Rashid, who after the India-Pakistan cricket match at the T20 World Cup, which I'm pretty sure most people who are of the Indian subcontinent probably already know about. Those who don't, he said after the World Cup game, which, by the way, after 12 victories in a row in different World Cup games between India and Pakistan, for the first time India lost after 12 victories in a row. So Sheikh Rashid said that the Pakistani victory against Islam was a victory of Pakistani victory against India was a victory of Islam. The other part was such a wrong assessment. Pakistan can never win anything.
So this is the same guy who's the interior minister of Pakistan. But I mean, if there was a nutcase anywhere in the world, this guy is it. He
So
is
he's,
the
see,
one.
the
If you
thing is, he's
remember,
not a nutcase. He's just a hater. So
no, a hater and a nutcase, because this is the second time he got the coveted Hindu Phobe of the Week award with all the intense competition that exists. He had made a statement that Pakistan has developed nuclear bombs that would only, if they would go in a crowded area and pick out and kill only Hindus without affecting any of the Indian Muslim living in that area. You remember that, right? That was less than a year ago he made that statement. That time he was not interior
well,
minister.
he that's that maybe they do. I mean, that's the storyline of the latest James Bond movie. You know, so it was in the latest James Bond movie. They have these bio weapons that are smart weapons and only kill certain.
How is a bioweapon going to find out who is following which religion and
I
target
know, I
only that?
know. So
It's not
I'm
even
pretty sure
DNA based, right?
Sheikh Rashid, in his infinite Islamic wisdom and some divine intervention from their Islamic God, has figured that out. So let him. But the point is that he made such a statement as a. But the funny part here is that when Sheikh Rashid says that the one victory that Pakistan has had against India in any World Cup tournament is a victory of Islam, in a way, he's admitting that the other 12 times that Pakistan lost was actually a defeat of Islam against Hindu Dharma. So, on any given day, according to Sheikh Rashid's logic, I would take it like, for every one defeat that India faces at the hands of Islam, or Hindus face at the hands of Islam, according to Sheikh Rashid, we will take the 12 victories that come after it or before it. So, I'm
And
okay with
what's
that.
the deal about this? What Rizwan did, which is offer namaz right in the middle of the game when the drinks were on the field, and he did a namaz in front of Hindus. What was that?
So see, the
Uh,
thing is that this is a larger Pakistani. They have been doing this for a while. They do this, they lose the games, and everybody makes fun of them because when you are in a frame of mind where everything good and humanly positive that you do, which is play a good game of cricket, which they did, you attribute it to your religion. Then every time you do something bad and you lose badly, which Pakistan does very often actually, and does in a very pathetic way, it automatically gets attributed to that religion too. So so every time Rizwan offers namaz in the middle and actually wins a game, which is very rare for Pakistan, every time they offer namaz and lose the game, it is also a fault of Islam. So that comes with it. But logic is not something that is the strength of Islamists. So we will let them.
so how do Hindus deal with this?
So this is the most important part, Ajay bhai. I think Hindus have to learn and call this out for what it is, which is pure and simple hate. And that is the part that bothers me, that there are Hindus who call it out as hate like we do and treat the haters in a manner that befits those who hate people. But there are Hindus who try to become apologists for them. And they try to, for example, the last quote here, that today the infidel or kufr, which is the Arabic word for non-believers, was destroyed, which is a quote from Bazid Khan after the game, after the cricket match. Kufr toot gaya is what he said in Urdu. The fact that there were Hindus and Hindus of responsible position and media in important media outlets around the world, including in India, they were making statements like, "Oh, kufr doesn't mean that," or they were clinging to flimsy excuses and almost laughable logic, coming up with laughable excuses on behalf of these haters is a bigger problem. And I feel that is the part we have to worry about, and that a lot of it stems from ignorance. Many Hindus actually really don't know what kufr means or kafir means, and they continue. I
Well,
mean,
so many
hey, what?
Bollywood songs with
Exactly.
with kafir word in it, and
Yeah, the
and
Bollywood
Hindus sing
songs,
it with joy.
yeah, and Hindus love to sing it with joy. That is the sad part. So that is where our role is important, where we educate people about something that is real, something that is violent, something that is extremely hateful, and something that has led to the death of millions of Hindus historically. I mean, if there is ever an open and shut case to counter hate, this is an example of that. I mean, there is historical evidence, there is current ongoing evidence, there is theological backing, and then there is physical intent.
So
There is
what would
no better
be?
case to be made than this
I
against
have to
India.
look up our newfound friends, Hindus for Human Rights. What they have to say about this, because I'm sure now that they have they have done the Ghar Wapsi, they should have. I don't know if they have noticed that. Maybe we should seek their opinion on this. I'm sure they have something to say. So, as a executive director of Hindu Pact, would you be reaching out to them to get their comments on this, or you're leaving it to someone else?
I don't think we even need to engage them, but yeah,
Why
sure.
not? So that this kind of news may escape them because they're new to our fold, and we need to bring it to their attention, right?
Sure, sure, we can do that.
So, would you be doing that as the executive director of Hindu Pact, or somebody else will? I need a commit. I'm trying to see if I can get a public commitment from you.
I mean, I'm open to conversations with anybody who would like to engage with
No, no,
us.
no. This is proactive. Proactively seeking their
But
statement on this.
see, Ajay, by bringing it up right now, you have already given them the excuse of bowing out of that conversation, and allowing them a excuse by saying that this is nothing to do with America or American Hindus, because this is something to do with Pakistan.
No, but they are Hindus for human rights. They're global. So the new person, new guest comes home. We need to welcome them.
Well, sure. If you want, if let's do a poll. How about we should do a poll about whether we should ask Hindus for Human Rights to comment on the three courts, which is Kufru Tudgya and Wakar Unisys court and Victory of Islam court from.
Hey, so you're all empowered executive director Hindu Pact. You need no polls. You
No,
can
but
do whatever you want.
we should have a feel of our audience and what our supporters, and there is no better way to get a feel of people's audience than have this poll. But it's a very relevant question that you ask, because Hindus for Human Rights, they have been promoting the Pakistani narrative on almost every issue related to India, whether it is Jammu and Kashmir, whether it is Article 370, whether it is CAA, whether it is farmers, Khalistan issue, you name it. Every point of view that Pakistani narratives holds against India and Hindus on any issue is the line that Hindus for Human Rights takes, and we know why it does that. We know who their backers are and so on and so forth. So it's probably a good idea to ask them. In fact, instead of asking that question publicly, they can just send a message to their backers and say, "Arey Rashid Saab, why? What is your?" They have a better line of communication than you and me do.
Yeah,
So
but
they can just ask Rashid Saab over a phone if they want.
right, but I mean, we need to know the outcome.
We need to. So maybe we can just ask them right here if they're listening to us to give us an
No,
outcome.
but they might be a little bit camera shy, so you might have to use your.
Rajay bhai, since you are the one who declared them as Ghar Wapsi candidates, why don't you do that? They love
I see. I
VHPA.
don't. I don't have the right. So that I don't have the right standing. I'm not like the executive director of Hindu Pact.
No, but you are the president of VHPA, and they have actually
Yeah, but
a
that
lot of
doesn't
love
count.
for you. Trust me.
Yeah, that doesn't count as much,
No, they have a lot of love for you. Why don't you do
All
that?
right, so let's bring this to a close. Thank you very very much, and this is like this is a fun conversation. I know you enjoyed it, and
Yes, I did. I did.
hey, so that let me bring this program to a close. I want to thank you for this wonderful conversation on Hindu Heritage Month 2021, and I want to once again tell everyone that as we close the program, we have a special tune created for just this episode of Hindu Lounge by the group Decibels. It's all based on classical Hindu ragas, and this one, uh, you know, I I don't have it in front of me which raga it is based on, but amazing music. And I'm going to play this and just put the title screen on and play this. So please stay tuned, enjoy the music from Decibel, created for just this episode of Hindu Lounge. With that, thank you, Utsoda. Utsoda is Utso Chakrabarti. He's the executive director of Hindu Pact. And I am Ajay Shah. I'm the president of World Hindu Council of America. Hindu Lounge comes live every week at 11 o'clock Eastern and we talk about contemporary American Hindu issues. Utsada, thank you and namaste. Any final words from you before we close the program?
No, I think keep an eye out for the Hindu Heritage Month events that are happening in the afternoon today, and look forward to something new next week. And we have a lot of new things coming up. Keep following us, keep supporting us. We need your support, and keep an open heart to give support to the causes we support. Thank you so much,
And welcome new people.
and welcome new people. Sure.